everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. We are really excited to be here today to talk about our fall harvest films and give a little recap of what we thought of them. But before we started, I wanted to take a little moment and to give a little statement about our friend Sherry, who has passed away. And she was such a wonderful part of the Hallmarkies community. She listened to every single episode of our show. She was meticulous about keeping up to date on all of the different movies. She knew every single detail as far as writing, directing, everything. And she was such a great resource to me. And she really kept me on my toes, that I had to really know my stuff. And if I got something wrong, she definitely would let me know. Like, what did you say that for? And I'm like, oh, sorry. And she was so generous with her time, especially when I was kind of doing the podcast by myself in 2018. She was so helpful in helping me with the preview shows, in basically doing the spreadsheets for me. And so I just wanted to say thank you to her and rest in peace. It's definitely a loss for our entire community. And I'm going to put a link to her GoFundMe for the friends of hers that are handling all of the expenses. And if you feel inclined to contribute, I think that would be really nice. And so take a look at that down in the description. She was a wonderful person, and I was really grateful to get to know her. And so don't mean to start on a sad note, but it's something I felt like we needed to say. So here we go. Now let's get into the episode. I am film critic Rachel Wagner, and I have special guests here today to talk about these fall harvest films. Kari's here.
Hey, how's it going?
Yes, and Laura and Ginny are here.
Hey guys.
Yes, I hope you're all doing well. Are you enjoying fall as much as can be enjoyed during this crazy time?
Yeah, we're in Oregon, so we're in the full swing of fall colors up here. It's great.
It's fine. It was slow to come, and after all the smoke cleared out, but it's beautiful right now.
Oh, I'm so glad. So glad. Yeah, you're having fun there with your kitties there, Kari?
Yeah, we just did the apple orchard thing and the carving the pumpkin thing, and to be honest, I'm like, great, check. Done. Don't need to repeat that. We are good. And they were saying, we don't do this very much. And I'm like, yeah, I'm cleaning out this pumpkin, because it's dirty and messy. And I need it. I need my childhood wonder again.
You need it every year. You need to take a year to kind of be motivated to then do it again.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like, okay, I can pass on this now and wait until fall again, 2021.
You mean your pumpkin patch picking isn't like steeped in sepia tone and in magic, like in these movies?
It's not as magical as I want it to be. Let's just put it that way.
Very good. All right. Well, let's dive in. We're going to talk about these films and what we thought of them. So we started out with on the 19th of September, we had Follow Me to Daisy Hills. And this stars Sidney Busby, Marshall Williams, and it's about the summary. And summary is, the story revolves around Jo and Blake. Jo realizes that her family-owned general store in Daisy Hills, built by her late mother, isn't doing great business. To save the store, her father, Duke, calls up for help. But the help is none other than Jo's ex-boyfriend, Blake, former Daisy Hills native turned New York business consultant. Initially, the two former lovers disagree and approach the situation differently. Jo thinks a personal touch is needed for a small town, while Blake is more concerned with how to make a profit. Eventually, they reach middle ground and soon find themselves falling back in love. But just as things start to look good, Blake is approached for his dream job in New York City, and uncertainty arises, making Jo and Blake contemplate their future. So that's pretty intense there. Pretty exciting. So Kari, overall, what did you think of this film?
You know what? Overall, I was super excited to get into the fall movies, and this at every turn just kind of, I knew what was coming, but I liked it. Like I liked how they did the friend to, the second chance story again. I liked how they did that. I liked how she saved the store. I thought it was a bit creative. I mean, there were some funny things in this movie, but I think overall, it eked out half a rating better than I anticipated.
All right. What did you all think, Ginny and Laura?
I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
There were things I really liked. I really enjoy that Cindy Busby, I guess maybe by luck of being in several acquisitions, has kind of been the Hallmark MVP of the COVID era. It just seems like we've gotten a new Cindy Busby movie every few weeks. And she, was a trooper in this one, as she always is. I myself was not that crazy about the store. I love like the store in Christmas in Evergreen or in Christmastown last year, or, the candy store and one we're going to discuss later. But this one, I was like, I don't know if I actually think this is a store worth saving.
Well, and it's funny you mentioned that, because I said when I was watching it, and Kari can attest to this, if this store had been a Christmas store, I would have been way more forgiving.
Yep.
I don't know, just like the magic of Christmas. But
we got into the store, the first panorama of the store, and I was like, there's nothing here. There's literally nothing in the store. What is this store?
It looked like a liquidation sale, and they kept being like, let's move the merchandise. It'll make it better. I'm like, you can see all of it the minute you walk in. It actually doesn't matter where it is in the store.
I mean, the whole idea of a general store, I'm just like, is that a thing? Do they still exist?
You know what? They do exist because we have a lot of small towns around here, but they're a little more like the Gilmore Girls, like a store where you're going to have a few basic staples. This was like, do you like pasta sauce or do you like water? So but that just shows the budget was different. I felt like it'd be interesting to see maybe done differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What did you think overall of the movie?
Overall, I have to say this is one where I watched it after I saw some feedback. So it was better than I was expecting based on some of the feedback I was seeing. On the other hand, I felt like good elements were kind of fizzled out when there was just kind of things that didn't jive. Such as thinking they were brother and sister a little bit. But there were elements I liked. I loved that the sister's letter went viral. I liked a few ways that things were handled.
Yeah, so I thought this was terrible. I hated this movie. I thought it was
Might have been your opinion, I read.
I was going to say, I think it was my tweet. Sorry. But I thought I forgive a lot. As a film critic, I forgive a lot with these movies that I probably shouldn't. Yeah. But if it's got enough chemistry, enough whatever, then I can forgive a lot of production problems. But this is pushing it. I thought the sound mixing was so bad. You could almost, even if they were inside, you could hear the road. You could hear the cars. Like, it just sounded bad. And I thought that the lighting was so bad. I mean, I know they were trying to go for this like dewy kind of like sepia feel, but it looked like the entire movie was a flashback.
It did.
That is accurate.
Yeah, start to finish. And I thought that the story was just not great. I didn't love the story. I thought the store wasn't magical enough. Again, if it had been Christmas, maybe I'd been more forgiving. And then the chemistry, I didn't, like you said, they maybe felt more like brother and sister, but this is now 2 times that I have really not liked a Marshall Williams movie. So I really did not like that Maze movie from earlier this year. That was not for me. And so now he's got 2 strikes.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, Marshall, you got to step it up. I honestly, I don't know what I was thinking when I wrote all this. I was so optimistic about this movie after watching it. I was like, this is going to be great. This is so great. And then, like you said, Laura, the reviews that you've been reading afterwards, you're like, oh yeah. I didn't like that either. And now I'm like, Wait a minute.
I mean, and I like tons of not great stuff, so I get it as far as like production design and all this stuff. It doesn't matter if you're charmed by the story, then you can forgive a lot, and I have. So I don't apologize for that. I mean, if you enjoyed it, that's all that matters. And I do like Cindy, so I don't want to be too hard on her. But and obviously they have a way smaller budget for this kind of film than the typical Hallmark film, probably a third of the at least a third of the budget. So that's a big part of it, but still it was just really bad. And that the chemistry was just not there between the two of them. In my opinion.
They tried. I mean, they really tried to kind of like, remember this about us, remember this about us. And but you're right, the present day chemistry, it just didn't feel like they grew into that relationship at all. They were holding on to what they had.
Yeah. What did you think of the strange drunken phone call aspect of the movie when she calls the university? What did you think of that? That was different.
I liked it. Like I said, I really enjoyed the sister going viral and all of that, but I felt like there could have been a lot of different ways that could have come about, and that it didn't require a bottle of wine per se for it to happen. We've had tons of mistakes in the Hallmark world that have just been sheer accidents, right? So I kind of felt like, all right, I don't know if this is being edgy or just being lazy. I couldn't quite tell.
Yeah. Obviously, it's something that wouldn't be in a Hallmark produced film, or a Hallmark original. And I think there have been a few other acquisitions this year that have things that I'm like, that never would have slid, but beggars can't be choosers. Situation.
Yeah. I'm not offended.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't offended. It was just random. It was very random. Carrie, what do you think of that?
Whole movie. I mean, I was like, oh, okay, we got this, we got some beers, we got more beers, and then I was like, well, she is really going for that wine. All of a sudden it's gone, and she like, it's part of the story. I just thought that was so funny, you guys. I do not expect it in my Hallmark movies. I do not want it in my Hallmark movies, but there it was. And
yes. So yes, I have my ranking of Hallmark movies, and there were 39 Hallmark movies, the least that I saw. I did not watch a couple. I didn't watch that Boyfriend's Dogs one or whatever, Husbands.
How to Train Your Husband.
Yeah, I didn't watch that.
It had a lot in common with this one.
Oh no, I couldn't do it. And anyway, so there were a few that I didn't watch, but I have this at bottom last place. 39 is my least favorite, and I have Amazing Winter Romance at 38. So interesting. Marshall has some work to do.
So you're basically gonna fall in love based on all the Hallmark movies.
Yeah, basically. That's true. That's right. And yeah, I'd give it like one crown. I really didn't like it. It wasn't for me. But Carrie, what about you? How many crowns out of 5?
Well, I predicted 3, and I'm sticking with 3. I mean, there were things that I enjoyed about it, and I was, I wanted to go to Daisy Hills afterwards. I wanted to follow somebody there, and I give it a 3.
Okay, I think that's great. And Ginny and Laura, what about you?
I gave it a 3 too. I think I'm kind of grading on a curve this year. I'm cutting a little more slack to things like this film because what else are we going to watch? I'm grateful they gave us new content. So I'll give it a 3.
I gave it 2.5.
Okay. Oh, that's good. Then we have 926. We had Falling for Look Lodge, and this Clark Bacco, Jonathan Keltz. And this is when activities director at Look Lodge quits. Lily seizes the opportunity for a promotion and must immediately entertain a wedding party. While keeping her boss, who is also her sister, happy, Lily helps the bride's estranged brother, Noah, put his job aside to help plan the wedding and reconnect with his family. So, Kari, what was your overall thoughts about this one?
Disappointment. I really wanted to like this so bad. I just thought it looked super cute when the previews came out for it. I didn't like it. I didn't want anything to happen that happened.
What do you think, Ginny and Laura?
This was my least favorite of the bunch. I actually would rather go to Daisy Hills than return to Look Lodge, only because of what happened. I think, again, I liked the actors. I could see them in other things. Jonathan made a great Prince in the past, but it didn't. I just didn't like what was happening. I was frustrated. I felt bad for the lead character, and I just couldn't quite understand why everybody was doing what they were doing.
Yeah, this is really bad. I have it slightly ahead of it's, I think, a little bit better made than Daisy Hills. I didn't have some of those production problems, so I guess that's maybe why it's at 35. It's not that high. But yeah, this, I can't understand why this brother is expected to do all these things for this wedding. It doesn't make any sense, especially if your like relationship isn't that good. Why are you expecting him to make all of these choices for your wedding?
No.
Agreed. If he were the maid of honor instead of her brother, if he were her sister and were the maid of honor and these responsibilities had been given to her, the bride would have been painted as a bridezilla type. It's just too demanding,
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And I don't know, like, it just made all the characters kind of unlikable. There was no chemistry between anybody at all. It was probably one of the worst kisses in a Hallmark movie in a long time. At the end, I thought they seemed like they were like rehearsing for a play or something. It was not good. And so, yeah. And then her sister firing her for what? For being too attentive to the family? Like, for doing too good a job?
It made no sense whatsoever. I felt so bad for Lily in this because she was actually a likable character, and just having to work for her sister, and then on top of solving this family's constant problems, like they're demanding she spend her free time with them as well. It seemed like too much.
Yeah, I agree.
The whole thing with the one kid, I always am like, oh, that one kid, and why even have that kid? And honestly, they talked to her like she was stupid. And I was like, is she 5 or is she 11? And it bothered me when she got lost. Remember that scene? She got lost. She was like, that present, and they were like, okay. I don't even know. I can't even do it.
Yeah, that's true.
I did like the lodge. I did like the lodge. I thought the lodge was pretty. The whole restaurant bar area, whatever, was just really stunning. Like, I thought there were some nice things about it as far as watching it.
My favorite part of the movie was the little side romance between the bartender and the other lady. That was like a little bit fun, I thought.
I thought that was really fun. I love turtles. And it was really cute. So that was nice. Another thing that was great is the fall scenery. I feel like often we can tell something's been filmed in summer, like high summer, where there's like bright glaring sun. And I really liked that there was true fall leaves and scenery. So that's one benefit.
Yeah. So I probably would give this one 2 crowns out of 5. And so it's at number 35 in my ranking. I have Matching Hearts at 34, and I have Romance in the Air at 36. So
nice bookends.
Yeah. So Kari, how many would you give it?
I give it 2. I would give it 2 only because I've never given one like a 1, and I just don't want to. I don't know. I give it 2 out of 5.
Okay. Ginny and Laura, what about you?
I gave it 2.5. And again, it's because I was kind of looking at this group of films together and I felt like it was that much worse than Daisy Hill. A half crown.
Yeah.
I gave it 2.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, so then we have Country at Heart, the long-awaited film that had been delayed twice, much hyped. And I guess we should, I can read so it's Niall Mater, Jesse Schramm, written by Rick Garman. And this is struggling Nashville musician Shayna is on the verge of giving up on her career and returns to her small town home when a chance encounter with prolific songwriter Grady changes everything. He's writing a song for country music star Duke Sterling, and Shayna seems like the perfect writing partner. The two grow closer and romance blooms as they work on their love song. But when Shayna meets Duke, who takes a liking to her and asks her to be his opening act, it undermines everything she and Grady created, and Shayna feels forced to choose between love and possible stardom. So, Ginny, why don't you start? What did you think when you finally got to see this film? What did you think?
Well, I feel like there are so many mixed feelings on this, but for me, I loved this movie. I think every once in a while, Hallmark does a movie that is just a little bit above Hallmark and a little bit close to like a feature rom-com. And I felt like this is the first one like that we had seen in a long time. And that if there weren't so many like Hallmark truisms in there, that it could actually pass for a feature release, or at least something that's like on a major streaming network, as opposed to a Hallmark movie.
Yeah, I could have seen this on like Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
which are usually a little bit of a step up as far as production values, at least, than Hallmark. I think they have a little bit more budget than Hallmark typically has. Laura, what did you think?
Very similar. I really enjoyed it. There's so much to say about how well done the singing was. It was authentic. The songs weren't bad. The scenery felt, very realistic. I know, especially after going from kind of the empty store front, moving into what felt like a true music festival, true,
honky tonk bar.
Yeah. And Duke was a true country star. I mean, I really felt that from him. So overall, I liked it. It did feel a little like a pilot to me, where I felt like the energy kind of crested, and it's like almost felt like the ending was more of a cliffhanger than an ending.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that means I didn't like it, or if that means I want more.
Yeah, it's not as much a romance as most Hallmark movies.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty understated, more about music and them writing, which was kind of nice to have a break. I mean, I thought, and I don't know, what do you think, Kari?
Well, you prepared me well for it because you had seen it, and I didn't know any of the drama with it last year. So you filled me up on that, and you said, no, not as much of a romance as it is other things. And that helped me, actually. That helped me really appreciate it for what it was. But I did like the romance that was there. And I thought she was a great character. I really did. I thought she deserved everything she got, all that attention and everything. Finally, it left, I thought the same as you, Laura, in that it left me wanting more. And it left me wanting Duke's story. I need Duke's story. Let him find his own hometown girl to give up stuff.
Agreed. And I have an idea of who it should be, but I'm not going to say it now.
We'll write it. Call us.
No.
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I could totally see Autumn Reeser being Mrs.
Yes.
Yeah. Mrs. Duke. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I did get to watch it a while back. I was able to find it on demand randomly this summer, and I enjoyed the music. Jesse Schramm, I think, is a good singer, so I liked that. And I thought Niall Mater did a good job. He's very charismatic. I thought it was relatively believable that this could happen. As far as songwriting and the club and everything felt relatively believable to me. And I thought the Duke was a little bit sometimes annoying and frustrating, but part of that was purposeful because he's supposed to be kind of getting in the way
Right.
So I don't know about that, but I like Lucas Bryan. I think he's very charming. And so overall, all the things that I kind of wanted it to be, I thought it was. So I actually have it at number 9.
Nice.
Ooh, way up there. In my ranking, I have Wedding Every Weekend at 10, and I have Crossword Mysteries Abracadabra at number 8. So, but yeah, I would give this one 4 crowns. I thought it was good. I'd be interested to see a second one. Kari, what about you?
Yeah, I have 4.5 out of 5. I really liked it. I would watch it again, and I would anticipate a second one. Yeah, I'd love it.
Yeah. Ginny, what would you give it?
I would have given it a 5, which I've never done before, but I docked it 0.25, so I'm giving it 4.75 because the one thing that bothered me was I just didn't think that someone as passionate about her music career and such a go-getter as Shayna would leave the sound check because it was going too slow. I mean, that's just part of her job, and it bugged me so much that 4.75.
That's a good point.
Nor would he expect it as a sign of her devotion.
Right.
He as a musician would respect that she needed to be there and would have come to her because as far as I know, he had nothing else happening. Yeah. Right. So
that's true. So what would you give it, Laura?
I give it 4.
Okay, very good. All right. So then next we have Follow Your Heart. And this was actually on Movies and Mysteries. And we did not preview this in our preview because I didn't know it existed. As simple as that. I didn't know. And it's kind of interesting because there is this sort of weird niche of Hallmark Amish movies. Like there's a bunch of them. When you start digging into it, like, oh, that's really random. But they're almost all good. And I don't know if that's because I know so little about that faith when it comes down to it, that maybe, I mean, and the Amish people are perfect people to make movies about because none of them are going to see the movie. Nobody's going to comment about it. And so it's perfect.
And that you say that because I was thinking, I wonder what they think about being portrayed in movies and stuff like this. And I thought that same thing. Well, I don't know if they're going to see it. Actually,
no, they're not going to see it, and so, but that may be part of it. But anyway, so this Follow Your Heart. This stars Galadriel Steinman, Kevin Joy, Jonathan Patrick Moore, and this was written and directed by Sandra L. Martin, and it's which have a short. It's just Kathy Yoder is a travel writer who has left her Amish ways behind. But when she returns home to settle her father's affairs, she's tempted to return to her former lifestyle. And so, yeah, I don't really have any delusions that this is like an accurate depiction of Amish life and like that people would behave this way and that he would really give up his faith like that. I think that's probably not going to happen. But as a piece of escapism, I really liked this movie. I thought it was really good. I liked this Galadriel Steinman. I thought she was excellent, and I would like to see her in more. I thought she was a very good actress. She's new to me. I'd never seen her before. And I thought it was really sweet, and I enjoyed it. So I don't know. What do you think, Laura, about this one?
I felt very similar to you. I've watched some of the other Amish movies on Hallmark, and they have more of a Hallmark Hall of Fame kind of slow burn, old-fashioned essence to them. So it was a nice change of pace. I missed some of that on there. It kind of fell apart at the end for me again, because I don't know if it honored either of their life choices and beliefs, and felt kind of like a stretch. But in the process of watching it, I found it to be pretty beautiful. I thought it was shot well, and she was very, very engaging. I'd love to see her in more things, but maybe not their top Amish movie, which is weird to say.
Yeah. What did you think, Ginny?
I think that they needed to market it more because I was not aware of this movie. Therefore, unfortunately, did not watch it. I apologize.
Okay. No, it's okay. It's all right. We didn't have it in the preview, so we didn't even know. So I wasn't until a listener informed us of it, and we're like, oh, thank you so much. But Kari, did you get to see it?
I did. I saw it. And, I go through these phases of Amish phases where I like reading Amish fiction. But I'm not like one to like, ooh, an Amish movie, So it was good. I thought it was super ironic though, this whole follow your heart title, because that is like the Amish are all about duty and, like their community is all about like honoring the church and each other and things like that. So it's opposite of follow your heart. And so I was actually kind of relieved to see him. Okay, if they're going to make them a couple at the end, that was the way to do it. I thought that.
Yeah, I mean, they either have to have her becoming Amish, which I feel like it is hard sell to modern audience, to non-Amish audiences. That's a hard sell. Yeah. Plus, like, you can't just all of a sudden have faith just because you're in love. Like, it doesn't work that way. Yeah. And so that's awkward. And so then you have to have him leaving, or you have to have them amicably parting ways and, in a touching way, which could have worked. But that's why I would say this is sort of romantic escapism. And that part of it, I don't think it's realistic. As little as I know about the Amish, I still, being from a fairly devout faith myself, I just can't imagine that, and they're even more so in that way, that I can't imagine that would, that everybody would be like, oh, we're so happy for you. No way. But I still liked it. I really did. And I did laugh that everybody in this movie is so excited to publish poetry. Never was there more excitement for publishing poetry.
Yeah.
I mean, they just can't wait for him to.
Good.
And so if only that was real, and that there was such a fervor for poetry in the publishing community.
Like every publisher's website right now is like, do not send your memoir, do not send poetry. Yeah, so right. It's just not happening, and it's not enough to leave your faith over the poetry that will sell to two people.
Yeah.
But right. And I thought the best line of the movie for me was when he said, but I would know, when she said, we don't have to tell anybody, they're not going to know that you published it. I thought that was such a beautiful testament to his faith. But then, 3 weeks later he left and they're really happy and we're all good.
Yeah, no, it's true.
He was a very honorable hero, though. I really like, the time she tried to hold his hand at the lake and kind of revisit their romance here and or their childhood romance, and he was like, whoa, what are you doing? I really respected that, actually. Mm-hmm. So I was like, yeah, what is she doing? they have questions to answer,
because honestly, like, the experience of leaving faith is pretty traumatic. So it would be at least for everybody I've ever known who's experienced it, it would be pretty traumatic, even if you were doing it for love. Yeah. I don't know, but I still like the movie. But Laura, how many crowns did you give it?
I give it 3. It's kind of its own category. So for what it was, I thought it was a solid 3.
And what do you think, Kari?
I'm with Laura, a 3.
So I actually, I have it at number 6 in my ranking.
Wow.
I really liked it. And
so
you do have to kind of turn off your brain. I hate that phrase, but you do kind of have to for it. But yeah, I have Midway to Love at 5, which that movie was way better than Had Any Right to Be. And then I have Picture Perfect Mysteries, Dead Over Diamonds at 7.
Yeah.
You've got those mysteries ranked high this year.
I know. It's pretty, I know. I have Aurora Teagarden at 11. I have this latest Picture Perfect at 12. So I'm, very high on the mysteries this year. Anyway, I don't know. I think I would also give it a 4. I really enjoyed it. And I especially loved her. I thought she was great. So use her more. Hallmark. She was really good. Okay, so then we have My Best Friend's Bouquet, and this was starring Shaylee Rose and Nathan Whitty and Jamie Calica, and this is a long summary. It's Josie Hughes is a hopeless romantic who believes in the kind of romance in black and white movies where the leading lady finds her one true love and gets swept off her feet. She also believes the wedding bouquet always finds its way into the right person when tossed by the bride, as proven time and again at weddings dating back to her childhood. But single Josie ends up with the bouquet at her friend Emma's wedding instead of their not single friend Athena, and fears she wrecked her chance of getting engaged. But when Josie begins dating eligible bachelor Will after meeting at the reception, much to the dismay of her longtime friend Alex, who has secretly held a torch for her since college, she decides the bouquet is responsible for the budding romance and begins to think that Will is the one. As Josie clings to the notion that the bouquet is always right, she's missing the real world signs that her perfect match is someone else who's been right in front of her all along. Whew, that was a lot. So, Kari, what did you think overall of this film?
Overall, I loved it. I thought it was great. I really did. I think that there were some really hokey elements of it, like that magical bouquet and stuff, but fun. That was so fun. Why not? I liked the two of them together as friends, and I could see, I believed it. I don't know. I just thought it was really, really good. I liked the friend group, everything. It was really fun to me.
What did you think of it, Ginny?
I liked it. I mean, I thought it was a, serviceable Hallmark movie. And there were parts of it that were a little slow for me, but I really loved that. I believe his name's Alex, admits to another character up front that he likes her. So we know that going in and we're on his team and we want to see that work out. And I just think Chaley Rose, she's so good at, what really great Hallmark stars do, which is take, dialogue that said by someone else might be a little bland or mediocre and putting some personality in it. And I just want to say, we know she can sing because her Christmas movie last year was a musical movie. So she's my vote for Duke Sterling's love interest in the sequel.
That's good. Yeah. That's good pick. Good pick. Yeah.
That's awesome.
What did you think, Laura?
I really liked it. It was probably, it wasn't my favorite from a critical perspective, but it was the one when I was watching it, I was engaged. I was laughing. I mean, pause everything to give kudos to Hallmark for their efforts in diversity. I just love the cast. It wasn't tokenism in any way. It was great. And Chaley's energy was just quirky. It was almost sitcom girl energy, and we don't always see that. And I found that to be interesting. I wish the magic bouquet had been either more magic or less of a magic plotline, because that's where at pieces the writing for me kind of fell apart here and there, where I didn't quite follow what was happening or what was the consequence of this bouquet. Was it real? Was it imagined? So I wish it either gone one way or the other.
Yeah, I think we're pretty similar on this one. I mean, I overall liked it. I was hoping I would love it. I didn't love it. I felt like, I don't know, the chemistry wasn't quite as good as I was hoping it would be. Maybe my expectations were too high. But I still, overall, I thought the ensemble nature of it was a lot of fun. And I really like it when Hallmark does these sort of ensemble, like they did with Wedding Every Weekend, or The Sweetest Heart is one of my favorites, where you have these different couples and you're kind of following the different couples. And I thought that that Athena was a little much sometimes. It was a lot.
And that couple.
Yeah, Rebecca Olson. Yeah, I mean, she did a good job with what she was given, but just the way it was written, her character was kind of a lot. And then I love Casey Manderson, but I kind of wish they'd given him a little bit more to do, been a little more funny, because he can be super funny. They were my least favorite. I was just like, but and I liked it. It was hard for me because there was a side of me that liked Jamie Calica Will better with her than Alex. I mean, I love both of Nathan and Jamie. We had them both on the podcast. They're both great actors, really fun people. But just as far as chemistry and everything, I kind of point. I kind of liked Jamie and Shaylee together, and I'd love them to be in a movie together. The Curse of the Bouquet, I guess, I don't know. I was maybe hoping that it would, I don't know, just be a little more fun, a little more whimsical than it was. It was just kind of like her being a crazy person instead of like it being magic. I don't know. But it was, to me, it was just like a serviceable, as you said, a serviceable mid-tier Hallmark movie. And I was hoping I would love it, but I have it at number 19. It's right in the middle. I have Nature of Love at 20, and I have Mystery 101 and Education in Murder at 18. So I would probably give it 2.75 crowns. Kari, what about you?
Well, I'm higher than that. I would give it a 4. I mean, I maybe I didn't go into it with the expectation.
Yeah,
I did. So I just found myself really enjoying it. I thought it had some really funny and relatable lines in this movie that just had me laughing out loud. And I was like surprised by my own reaction. Anyway, I thought it was great at 4.
I think that's great. I think that's wonderful. Ginny, what about you?
I had 3.5.
Very good. Laura?
And I had 3.75. So I really enjoyed it.
Okay, good. I'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. They're the good folks over at ModCloth. And at ModCloth, we make getting dressed fun. Back to being independently owned, we're all about perfect fits for everybody. Unique, mood-boosting prints, vintage-inspired, versatile styles that make you look good, but more importantly, feel good. Find your joy at ModCloth. And one of the things that impressed me the most about ModCloth is they really do have something for everyone. They have every size you could imagine, and they have every style. Everybody's going to be able to find a print that they like and a style that they like. And it's cool because you can have a unique look. And there's so many different times when you want to stand out, but you don't want it to be bizarre or strange. And this is I think ModCloth is a great way to do so, to have a fun, sometimes festive inspired print. Right now they have the Halloween inspired prints. They have all different styles, and you can have your own unique look without looking ridiculous. And in fact, you are going to be a standout wherever you go in the ModCloth designs and looks. I was definitely looking at getting a new winter coat because they had some really, really cute styles. And so definitely you want to check it out. So to get 20% off your purchase of $75 or more, including sale items, go to modcloth.com. That's MODCLOTH.com and enter code Hallmarkies at checkout. This promo code cannot be combined with other offers. That's once again, go to modcloth.com, MODCLOTH.com, enter code Hallmarkies. Then we had Sweet Autumn, which is the last one. And this one stars Nikki DeLoach, Andrew Walker, and it is Maggie, a successful entrepreneur, returns home for a will reading and discovers she's inherited half of her aunt's famed maple candy business. What she doesn't understand is why Aunt Dee's maple supplier Dex inherited the other half. Her return also coincides with the town's Sweet Autumn Fest, and through a series of letters, Aunt Dee left Maggie and Dex search for the reasons behind her aunt's final wishes. As she and Dex grow closer, Maggie must decide if the life she built is the one she wants. So this one, I'll start on this one. This is very classic. If you wanted to just get everything set up, boom, home run. I feel like everything in here from Nikki DeLoach, Andrew Walker, it's a save the store. It's got the busybody matchmaker from Beyond the Grave. It's got lots of gratuitous candy making and candy things. It's got all the elements for a Hallmark movie. And overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. And I just, all of these letters, I mean, boy, Aunt Dee, She is something else. And I mean, isn't that everybody's dream, to manipulate your loved ones after you've left? I don't know. I think most of us. But yeah, I mean, the whole idea, this kind of is similar to the Candy Cane movie, which Andrew Walker was also in. And that, you know, the idea of expanding and growing the business is really tough for them to take and to handle. And I mean, I guess at least they didn't save the day with like new flavors. It's revolutionary, like the candy cane.
They did discuss them.
Yeah. And they had that festival, which, considering COVID, I thought was actually pretty, like, they did a pretty good job, I think, with this fall festival thing. And I thought I just love them together. They have really nice chemistry. And I've had a bunch of Andrew Walker movies that I haven't loved as much. So I was excited to see one that I enjoyed, and that I he kind of had that quarantine scruff going on, which I enjoyed. And so, yeah, I liked him in that leather jacket. He was very attractive. So I have great reasons for loving this movie. It's really, really deep. But Laura, what did you think of it?
I feel similar to you. I feel like this would be the perfect film to introduce someone to Hallmark. I think it did with fall what they do with Christmas so well. The scenery, the vibes, it was on point. It was probably the best fall movie we're discussing. Like, it could be up there with October Kiss, Pumpkin Pie Wars. And at the same time, there's such a fanverse now, like universe of people who have seen so many, that I think for those who've been in it for the long haul might have a little fatigue on the elements, even though they worked well together here. Yeah. So from a writer perspective, we're always balancing the good tropes, the bad tropes, the overdone, the fresh. And it was great. And at the same time, it's like the fourth time Nikki's done some of these very plot lines.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, that is a tough thing, that like because literally Nikki DeLoach has done a movie where there's a busybody matchmaker from beyond the grave that gives her half of the bakery. She's already made a movie about that. But what's that?
Poor girl can't get a full inheritance.
I know.
I've done that before. I'm like,
catch a break. Yeah, and then she also had the busybody matchmaker with Reunited at Christmas. With her grandma.
And Two Turtle Doves, she had a similar thing.
Yeah, that's right. So people love to kind of give her money. It's not like property. It's not like Lacey Chabert. She just gets the property all outright.
Yeah. Well, except in the
All of My Heart.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In Mimi. Yeah, she only got half there.
That's true. But in the Africa movie, she got the whole thing. That's true. It's a really interesting point that you bring out, because I think that My Best Friend's Bouquet really tried to do something different, which we like, and I enjoyed it. I think I'll give it 3. Maybe 2.75 is a little low. I'll give it 3, but it didn't quite nail it, I don't think, but I tried it and I appreciate that. Whereas Sweet Autumn is your base hit, your reliable, your proven formula. And if you're making I guess they actually took this was a Christmas movie and they turned it into a fall movie, which I think you can totally tell that if this had been a Christmas candy store, it just kind of makes a little more sense. I feel like there's more candy, I don't know, then people do have maple candy businesses, I guess, but anyway, I feel like you can tell that this was originally a Christmas movie, and they converted it pretty quickly over to a fall movie. But I enjoyed it. Like I said, I could handle Andrew Walker in that jacket all day. That was one of my favorite parts. But yeah, let's see here. What else do I have? Just one sec.
Well, 2 things. One thing. After all of this time and all of these Hallmark movies that I love, you guys, that betrayal took me by surprise. I totally forgot about this Jonathan guy. And then he showed up. I was like, oh myself laughing because I was like, wow, they got me. I can't even believe they got me on the betrayal.
That's so funny.
So that cracked me up. And second thing, it was the best. That was just the best kiss I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Around the campfire, that was adorable. I loved that.
I'm glad you brought that up. Pretty early, mid-movie kiss. That was nice. That was really good. So yeah, I would give this one 3.75 crowns. And I have it actually at 13. I have Picture Perfect Mysteries, Exit Stage Death at 12. And I have Love Under the Olive Tree at 14. Yeah, I'm one of the only people who enjoyed that film, I guess. There we go. But Ginny, what would you give it?
I give it a 4.
Okay, good. And Laura?
I gave it a 3.5.
Okay, good. Kari, what about you?
I'm a solid 4.
Okay, good. All right. So I would rank these movies. Follow Your Heart was my favorite, and then Country at Heart, then Sweet Autumn, and then My Best Friend's Bouquet, and then Falling for Look Lodge, and then Follow Me to Daisy Hills. So there we go. Well, thank you so much for coming on and doing this. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun to get to talk with you guys, talk about these movies. And I'm excited to be diving into Christmas now. This is it. This is the end of the non-Christmas movies. This is, I take that back. We will be having some kind of coverage of the 2 mystery movies coming up. We'll be figuring that out. But so Ginny and Laura, how can people follow you?
They can find us on Twitter. We're at Sanders Sisters. We write sweet seasonal TV movies. And if you'd like to read one, reach out to us.
Yeah, make sure to check that out. And Kari, how can people find you?
Yeah, find me on Instagram at Hallmark Comics. That's Hallmark_comics.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So please check that out. And make sure you're following the podcast on Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all over social media. And if you're listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We really need those reviews, especially during the holidays, to get people to find the podcast. It really helps us so much. If you are watching on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our Patreon group, which is so much fun. And we're going to be trying to do more behind the scenes, watch-alongs and different fun things going on. We have coming up this weekend, this Saturday, for patrons, we have our watch along of Christmas Pen Pals, one of my all-time favorites, with writer Carly Smale is going to be there. And we have amazing watch alongs planned through the end of the year. So please check out the Patreon. It's only $2 a month to join. It's really cheap. So check that out in the description section. We also have our merch store, which has tons of festive designs. So please check that out. And we have much more coming. And thanks again, you guys. I really appreciate it. And we will talk to you all soon. Bye, everyone.